Hi, and welcome to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants, the go-to podcast for holistic health seekers looking to harness the power of nature for health and healing. I'm Jen, a passionate health educator, whole food plant-based culinary coach, and master herbalist, and I'm joined with Dan, an exercise specialist and wonderful master herbalist. Together, we'll dive into the world of natural healing, bringing you a wealth of knowledge and practical advice. We draw from both traditional wisdom and modern science with herbs and foods to help you achieve optimal health.
Hey everybody, today's episode is all about a supplement that people have been talking about for years, fish oil. And it has been for years. I can remember, God, back in the mid-90s, it was a thing. So it's touted for its omega-3 fatty acids and its benefits for heart health, inflammation, and even brain function. But is fish oil really the best option out there?
Yeah,
Well, I don't know.
yeah, that's definitely something that we need to discuss, right? Especially for the vegan, whole food, plant-based community, because fish does not fit into that lifestyle. And so, can you get your omega-3s without taking fish oil? Um, yeah, so I don't know. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Well, it depends on the person, each individual. There's a genetic component, and you know this, that some people, their bodies does not convert ALA as readily as other people's. I've seen studies where I saw one study where the longer you're vegan, the more efficient your body gets at converting ALA to EPA, but it's still probably an individual thing. I guess the best thing to do is get your blood test to see how your body's doing with what you're doing at the time.
Yeah, that's a great idea because you could do like an omega-3 index blood test, and that would tell you right off the bat. I think that maybe we should talk about what is fish oil. Like, what is fish oil and why do people take fish oil?
Okay.
And so, fish oil contains high levels of omega-3 fatty acids. And we've been told for years and years and years to eat cold water fatty fish for the fish oil to help with inflammation, to help with heart health as well. And it's very high in EPA and DHA, which I think we mentioned. Um, and those are like longer chain fatty acids, which help cool inflammation. And when we eat omega-3 plant-based foods like chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, walnuts, and those are shorter chain, and they have to be converted down to EPA and DHEA to help with the anti-inflammatory benefits. And in some people, like Dan said, there's a genetic SNP. I don't like to call it a deformity, but I have it where my body struggles to convert short chain to longer chain fatty acids. And so, how can you be vegan and have to take something like a fish oil? And then people say, well, you can't be vegan or vegan's bad for you because you have to take fish oil. And so I want us to talk about that too, because there's a lot of controversy around that too. So for me, I would take algae oil because algae oil and I eat lots of chia seeds and flax seeds and lots of walnuts just to get those omega-3 fatty acids. But at what point do you need to consider maybe I do need to take a fish oil? And how does that sit with someone who is like, I'm not going to eat fish?
Well, that's a good question. But I guess, we teach the plant-based diet, and there are, for some people, room for a little bit of fish if you have to have it. But I still think that for most people, if they want to start plant-based, they should start out with foods and and make sure your omega-6s aren't too high. You have to go easy on the vegetable oils because they'll definitely throw your levels off, and it makes your body, it's harder to convert when you're eating too many omega-6s. So you have to watch
Yes.
that too. So
Yes.
I would say drop your omega-6s down, especially I don't believe in eating the oils, as you know.
Right.
And then up your flax, your chia, your hemp, and then I
All
say start
foods.
getting your blood tested. What do you think, every few months to see what's going on?
Yeah, we'll get it
And
tested and see
then,
where you are, and then you may not
yeah,
even need to adjust it. I do want to say, so like almonds, a lot of people when they switch to vegan, they a lot of almond oil, or I mean almond milk is what I meant to say. A lot of people have almond milk or even almond yogurt. Eating lots of almonds. We hear almonds are so good for you, but almonds are very high in omega-6s. And so the oils definitely, neither one of us is a fan, especially if you're a whole food plant-based. Oils are not whole food. But almonds too. Most of your nuts are higher in omega-6s than omega-3s. And so you need to make sure you're getting a good balance there. So don't just spend your whole day eating like almonds and other nuts, focusing on those omega-3 seeds.
And I also like to say that fish, they get their omega-3s from the algae, and that's why this new product on the market is algae oil. I think the algae oil will work for most people.
Mhm.
I don't do any, I mean, I just do my flax. I don't get my blood tested like I should, but
Mhm. Yeah,
I
at
think
this,
I mean, the flax, go ahead.
I was gonna say at the School of Natural Healing, we didn't talk
Yeah,
about blood tests. Like it's just not something that you do, right? I do.
let's see. So you were saying, you've tried algae oil, right, Jen?
Yeah, yeah. So I took algae oil for a long time. And lots of chia seeds and lots of flax seeds and walnuts. But for those of you who are new to us, I have a history of autoimmune disease and so lots of inflammation. And I did my genetic charts, and when I found out that I cannot convert, then at the same time I got really sick. So if you've been listening to us for a while or watching us on YouTube, I was really sick in the winter, a horrible cough. It lasted for 3 months. And I went in and had blood tests because there is a virus that's very popular the last few years, and that can cause blood clotting. So I went and had blood tests, and all of my blood clotting markers were really high, and they've never been high. And so I panicked and went, well, with my genetics, with these high clotting factors, I better go on fish oil. So I switched to fish oil. Well, then a month later, because my clotting factors were so high, I went and got it checked again to see if it had been lowered. The virus had gone away, my cough had gone away, and everything is back to low. And so it's not a concern anymore. And so now I'm comfortable going back to the algae oil because I don't think it was a problem before. Will I get my clotting factors checked again? Yes. And I will do an omega-3 index as well to see in a blood test to see what my balance of omega-3s is. And if as long as it is good, I'm going to stay on the algae and not worry about the fish oil. And we'll talk more about fish oil, even if you're not vegan. Why would algae oil be a good option for you, or what is the right choice?
So there also are the environmental and ethical considerations like we hear a lot,
Oh yeah.
especially now, but overfishing is actually an actual thing. Overfishing, I was hearing that they overfish so much that we actually have a shortage of fish in the coming years. But also the ocean is so full of pollution now. You're looking at mercury, plastic. You're looking at if you could was it radiation poisoning even.
Oh
So that's
yeah.
another consideration.
Right. Right. And so where does that fit in with algae? And you may not even know either. Like I know seaweed, you definitely want to make sure you're getting seaweed from reliable sources because
Yeah.
it's a wonderful detoxifier. And so it will actually absorb and clean the water, but that means it's
Uh-huh.
absorbing. So I'm wondering how algae fits in there. Does algae do the same thing? So do we need to make sure we're getting algae oil from safe waters as well?
Definitely. And there are some companies now that actually they grow their algae on the land. They have like vats where there's no contamination. So there's no
Mhm.
way it can get the pollutions from the ocean. So there's also, I can't tell you what company right now off the top of my head, but there are companies that are growing them offshore, like they're out of these big tanks. So that's one thing you can look at. Because I don't know right now if I think most water now is contaminated. I don't know if there's any water that isn't contaminated anymore.
Right,
They're
right,
finding contamination I think it's the North Pole now.
right.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't trust algae going in the ocean. No, no, I wouldn't.
yeah, yeah. So you definitely want to make sure you're choosing any product from a very reliable source. And, if you're not eating fish, which neither one of us eats fish, if you are eating fish, you want to make sure it's definitely wild caught, cold water, in very safe waters. That it's nice and clean. But we prefer that you not eat the fish. But if you don't eat the fish, then we want to make sure that you are using some sort of supplement, at least with food, lots of omega-3s through chia, flax, walnuts, chlorella, spirulina, like that. And so making sure you're getting, and not just a teaspoon. I had a client for a while. She was like, yeah, I take mine every day. And it was a teaspoon of chia seeds. And it was like, it's got to be more than a teaspoon, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so I love, like I learned from Dr. Rita Marie Lascalzo. She was my mentor. I went to her school and I work for her now as well. And I don't know why I'd never thought about it before, but she makes chia gel and just keeps it in the fridge, which is super easy. So I use a pint jar. Some people do it in a quart jar, but I'll put in a third a cup of chia seeds into a pint jar and then fill it up with water and give it a good shake. Let it sit for 15 minutes, shake it really good again, stir it, because sometimes it gets some clumps, and stick it in the fridge. And then every morning I can just stir that into my plant-based milk. If I have some sprouted oats, I can stir it into that. I can put it on yogurt and stir it in. And so then it's just really easy to make a nice filling porridge in the morning. And then I also add some hemp seeds and some walnuts on top. I know you're not a big nut eater, but that will, it's nice and filling, and it gives me lots of omega-3s right off the bat. And then also make a yogurt out of hemp seeds and walnuts. I do throw in some cashews in there, so it's not completely omega-3, and I love the creaminess of the cashews. But so I do eat a nut-based yogurt, which I know doesn't align with those of you who don't eat as many nuts for heart health. But I do like that as well to boost my omega-3s.
Yeah, I mean, I do have my daily flax. I do at least a tablespoon, 1 or 2 tablespoons a day. So, but
Right,
yeah,
right. And
I'm
it's
particular with my fat
tablespoons.
intake. Yes, it's tablespoon. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, teaspoons aren't going to do much.
No, no.
uh, so we could go. I mean, some of the health benefits are telling us with fish oil is some doctors say it does help lower your triglycerides. You have a problem there. But there's also a risk for if you take too much or saying it can make your blood too thin. And I think it's whole food plant based. Like this
Right.
diet makes your blood really thin because I have a
Yeah.
client right now I'm working with, and she says she gave blood yesterday. And her blood is so thin now, and that's what you want. I mean, it's really
Mm-hmm.
good to prevent heart attacks and strokes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much. I mean, how much more thinning do we need if we're truly whole food plant based?
Yeah. Yeah.
And drinking enough water, of course. What do you think?
Hydrating. Yes. No, I think you're absolutely right. And which is why I'm going to have mine checked, because
Yeah.
maybe I don't even need it at all, but I'm the same way. With a history of autoimmune, when I go in and get blood work, I get a lot of blood work, and they're always impressed with how fast they can fill up those vials. It's just boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Yeah. And so just
I
eating
knew a guy once.
plant-based.
Yeah, eating plant-based is going to thin you out. I mean, no, I knew a guy, he was a beer drinker and a meat eater, and his triglycerides were off the chart. And he went on fish oil because the doctor told him, somebody like that, if you're not willing to change anything else, fish oil, yeah, I would do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. But if you don't change the other things, is fish oil really going to help you?
Not very much.
Right. Yeah. You
There's
have to
no
do
magic
all the
bullet.
things. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So something drawbacks with fish oil is taste
Yeah.
terrible. I know the first time
Oh,
I had fish oil before I became 100% whole food plant-based, someone I had read online, make sure you get one that has lemon in it, which is true because you want that. And you can burp up fish oil later. Ugh. And so that's one of the biggest concerns for me was the taste. And it's usually huge. The capsules are usually really big. And so you have to make sure that you can take that. Yeah. Yeah. So the fishy aftertaste is something, keeping them in the refrigerator can help with that. And so I would always and I did anyway, any of mine, algae oil, any omega-3s, they're such fragile oils that you want to keep them in the refrigerator. You don't want them to stay out on the shelf because the heat will affect those oils and can make them go rancid very easily, which is actually inflammatory. So you're taking an anti-inflammatory that turns to an inflammatory. You don't want to put that in your body. So if you do buy them, make sure you put them in the refrigerator. Trying to think of anything else. And with the triglycerides, so we always tie triglycerides to heart health, but a lot of that has to do with sugar. And so you need to make sure that you're watching your blood sugar, you're fasting insulin, and cutting out sugar from your diet too. So fish oil, algae oil, maybe studies show they help with triglycerides, but if you really want to help your triglycerides, you need to first get your fasting insulin checked. And you also need to cut out sugar.
Yeah, and then up your fiber and make sure you go walk or something every day.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Processed flours. So many people, like
Oh,
even in my world, go gluten-free. I have to be gluten-free, but you can't go gluten-free by eating rice pasta and breads made with rice flour and potato flour and tapioca. That's sugar. That's sugar. That's sugar. That's sugar. That has rice flour, potato flour, tapioca, all of those. No, they don't say sugar, but it's sugar to your body. Those are going to all raise triglycerides. And so make sure that you're taking those out of your diet too.
yeah, I think it's why we like to say hopefully plant-based because I like to see you get a lot of fiber, and those foods don't have a lot of fiber because they're processed. We're thinking beans,
Yes.
oatmeal, things like that,
Yes.
vegetable.
Yes. Eat your
That'll get your
lentils.
triglycerides down. Oh yeah.
Yes. And sprouted oats, not quick cook
Yes.
oats.
Oh yeah,
Sprouted
no, no.
oats. Yeah, oat groats. Sprout them and then cook them. They're delicious. They're nice and chewy. Buckwheat. Sprout some buckwheat. Soak it overnight and turn that into a buckwheat porridge. Nice and chewy. Wonderful B vitamins. They're just, you need those foods.
Yeah, because fish oil can quickly turn into the pill for a ill thing, and that just doesn't exist. It just
Yes.
doesn't.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah. So let's talk about, so we have chia seeds and flax seeds, which you mentioned are ALA. They're plant-based form of omega-3 fatty acids, which convert to EPA and DHA. When you eat fish oil or eat fish, you're getting the direct EPA, DHA. So you're skipping that step. But if you're vegan, if you're concerned about your environment, if you're concerned about the taste, you just don't want to take it, then do the omega-3s and get your blood checked. Do you have any clotting factors? Is it something that you need to be concerned about? So do you think that algae oil could completely replace fish oil in most cases? But if you do
I
have
don't see
genetic
why.
studies, yeah.
I mean, I don't see why not because it's in the EPA and DHA form. So,
Mhm.
and this is a topic. Look, you can ask a lot of these plant-based doctors. Some of them say do it. Some of them say don't.
Yeah,
It's still not completely understood yet because, like I told you, and it's genetic. But people who are vegan long term, their body seems to get better at converting
right.
the LA to DHA. And I don't know if I do it. I have to get checked. But I do
Yeah,
think algae oil has a lot of potential because it's the same thing fish oil has, and that's how the fish get their omega
right.
threes.
Direct
So
source. Right,
yeah,
right. Yeah, as well as like, where do you get your protein? Where does the cow get its protein? Right?
yes,
Where does the giraffe? Where does the elephant? Where does the right? And so we can just go directly to the algae.
oh yeah,
Yeah, getting it from the greens, just like the fish do. Yes, and so we want to make sure that if you do buy any products, that you're watching for mercury, you're aware that there are toxins in there too. You want to use reliable sources. Make sure that it's a good quality company. Make sure they do quality testing on there as well. Make sure that it's safe and purified. It's been tested for contaminants, and so that is for both for algae oil and omega-3 fatty acids.
yeah. The good companies, you should be able to ask them to give you a report on their contamination. They should have it. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think this would be good. Anyway, so what do you think, Dan? What are your final thoughts?
well, for me, I think I would first tell the whoever's listening, if you want to go plant-based, go full plant-based, get rid of the oils, get your flax, get your chia, get your hemp hearts, eat clean.
Yes. Yes.
and then get tested after maybe 3 to 6 months, get tested. If you're
Mhm.
not where you want to be, then you could try to add the algae oil and go from there. It's not, don't concentrate on it too much. Just know that you're doing the right thing. When you go plant-based, you're getting rid of all the foods that hurt you and eating all the foods that are good for you. So you're going to be in a lot better boat than you were when you're eating cheeseburgers and hot dogs. So,
Right. Right.
yeah,
I completely agree with that. Go with the food first. Whole food,
yeah,
plant-based, focusing on balancing the omega-3s to omega-6s, getting those chias, flax, hemps, walnuts, putting algae oil in things, not algae oil, algae, chlorella or spirulina makes it beautiful color of your smoothie or your smoothie bowl or your oat bowl or your chia bowl. Yes. And so, yeah, I totally agree. I think that's great. Go with the food first. And if you buy it, make sure that you're using a reputable source.
yeah. I think you'll be good. I mean, I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're unsure if fish oil is right for you, don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with me at holisticgen.com or at danthenaturalman.com. That's where you'll find Dan. We're always here to help you make decisions about your health. We love working with people. We also want to make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel here and comment. What are your thoughts on fish oil or algae oil? Is it something that you would do or would not do? What are your concerns? Have you used it before? And what has been your history? And we never gave a medical disclaimer. None of this was medical advice. It's all completely for educational purposes. So I want to make sure that we're not telling you to take something or not take something. Do your own due diligence. Remember, this is just for education. But thank you for joining us. We hope to hear from you, and we hope that you listen again next time.